Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Jensenovski, and I'm terribly sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. Now he's in the Missouri at tier 9 US battleship. He's on map 2 Brothers, and well, it's a 4-point domination game, but it's interesting because there are only 7 ships per team, so he probably played that not to prime time. So he went here towards the left flank, and they found exactly one ship here, Seattle, that's sitting broadside. Well, I guess the Seattle beached in an attempt to escape. That didn't turn out so well for Seattle. Now the problem is that the enemy team split 6 and 1, I guess. There was one Seattle here, for whatever reason, and well, we assume that the other 6 ships had the decap, because we haven't spotted anything yet. Earlier, when Jensenovski arrived here, he used his radar to see if there was a destroyer lurking around, and he didn't find anything. He's also not detected, so yeah, it really looks like the enemy committed all of the force to the other side. Now the friendlies haven't even tried to take D, they are playing this very passive there. And I mean, there is plenty of radar to spot those destroyers, which will be inconvenient for them. So we will see. The Buffalo is also going back to defend, and we have 2 ships here pushing. Maybe they can pull some enemies out of position. Maybe someone will come back and defend. They also have the option to go back through the channel. It's honestly faster. Once you have pushed a certain way, it's faster to just use the channel to go back than to turn all the way. So it's a reasonable course he has here. He can cap B, then he can decide if he wants to go around here, flank them, or go through the channel. Well, we will see. Actually, let's slightly speed this up, because currently there is nothing to engage here. But, oh, it looks like the Izumo is coming back. So he's pulling the Izumo out of position. That's not too shabby. So they can, hopefully, the Donskoi can sink the Izumo. And he's trying to tell the... Yeah, the Donskoi is on very low health. What the Donskoi wants to do is find an island, most likely, or he could just, I guess, gets destroyed by the Izumo. So, we've lost the Donskoi. Actually, the friendlies have lost 3 ships already, and the only one who has been sunk was the broadside cruiser. Oh, Missouri. So, the Izumo starts to angle now. That might be problematic. Of course, he doesn't want to ram. He can't go through the Izumo's bow. He might just be able to knock out the turret. That would be lovely. So this might turn into, well, either a ram or a broadside duel. Now, of course, a ram isn't really going to benefit the friendlies, so the enemy Izumo might go for the ram. It's like the enemy team has an advantage ship-wise, and the Izumo has a disadvantage hit point-wise, so for the Izumo, ramming would be a reasonable choice. But of course, Jensenovski doesn't want to ram. He is preparing for a broadside duel. It's important that your guns are already aimed where you want them to, right? So he wants to shoot once he is fully broadside, so he has to aim his guns somewhere like this already. Your turret traverse cannot necessarily keep up with your sail-by. So there you go, everything's prepared. And, well, he shot well, he got the better luck aim, or how you wanna call it. He took quite a bit of damage, but it was worth it. It was certainly a better outcome than a ram. And oh, so he's popping his radar just to see what's around, and what he found is an Alsace. So, can he do it again? Or will the Alsace just show broadside anyway? I mean, we'll find out. Meanwhile, there are only 2 defenders left. It's 2 against 4 down here. The problem is that the 2 cruisers might just get smoked repeatedly by those destroyers, I guess. And that was disappointing. Well, RNGesus was not with our Missouri right here, but it looks like it's coming down to another sail-by. He's preparing. The problem is he's very low on hit points. He's currently on fire, damage con is almost ready. He needs to sink this Alsace right now. And looks good. Well, nicely done. So, that's nice devastating strike there. Now, meanwhile, the friendlies have lost another ship. The enemy team has lost 3 ships so far, right? And all of those have been sunk by our Missouri. I mean, he had some help, especially with the first one, but the battleships were almost entirely sunk by him. Okay, so, well, at least the Donskoy is low. We don't know how healthy the Buffalo is. As I was saying before, the 2 destroyers might just smoke up the cruisers kinda constantly. And this means that the Buffalo will have a problem engaged. Buffalo is still on full health though. And Buffalo does have raid, although he has to get close. I mean, that's not an easy situation for the Buffalo to be in, but the Donskoy is so low that 1 salvo should be enough.
All stations.
There is the
Donskoy
Donskoy again.
Of a strategic target.
I mean, all the Buffalo needs is basically 1 hit or so.
Attention, reporting the target position.
Well, maybe there are shells in the way? In the air. Okay. Maybe also not. So, meanwhile, the Buffalo is taking a bit of a beating. I mean, we don't know the exact situation over there, but it's not an easy fight for the Buffalo. Then again, like, it's not like the Buffalo started out 1-on-4. Like, the friendly team has managed to sink a single ship down there. And from this, like, there were 7 ships in the friendly team, right? And our Missouri and the Donskoy went down here north. And all other 5 were down here, south. And the 5 in the south haven't managed to sink a single thing.
Our team
Well,
depends upon you.
there goes the Buffalo. I mean, we can't look at the bright side. He now has a chance to earn a solo warrior. And, well, if he manages to earn a solo warrior, he's probably sinking the entire enemy team. Now, he can't win this on points because, well, he doesn't have any. Well, I mean, technically they control A, but, like, no, points-wise, this isn't going to be going in his favor. He can flip B now, but the enemy can just... So he's going to capture B, and then he's probably going to go through this center, and then he has a 4-on-1... Well, I mean, I don't know, the enemy might be spreading out. You see, if 1 enemy destroyer sails into a corner, this is unwinnable. So he's using his radar, and okay, we've got the Chungmu coming from the D side, we've got the Buffalo inside here, and we've got somebody in A, probably the Benham. So the enemy has actually spread out. And that's, well, somewhat of a disaster. So the only way for him to win is basically to sink all 4 enemies. And having to sink 2 destroyers in a battleship is not really... I mean, he has radar, but they can just stay outside of the radar range. Like, he needs the enemy to just YOLO charge him one after another. And I mean, since he's radaring, the Buffalo knows exactly that the Missouri is close by. Well, I mean, he was raided. So the Buffalo was like, yeah, I'm not gonna charge him Missouri. Screw that. Now, meanwhile, there are the 2 destroyers closing in, so there are probably orbs coming from all sides soon. So what's he going to do? Well, Jensenovski is probably just going to charge through his channel and go sink the Buffalo. I mean, on the bright side, knowing where the destroyers are, he's not going to get torped. Well, like the Donskoy has torps. But the Buffalo can't have moved far, right? So if he goes through here and sinks the Buffalo, then maybe he turns around and comes where it's... Let's just say it on the bright side, we know that Donskoy is on very low health. Okay. So, Hydro tells us that the Buffalo is still around. The Buffalo hasn't really run away. And that's a good news, because he needs the points from sinking the Buffalo. So, here is the Buffalo, and... Although he is holding his fire for some reason. Let's go through the nose. There you go.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Well, we have another heal going. So there is still 1 radar and 1 heal left. The Buffalo was sunk. The enemy team will now close in and cap B behind him exactly. And there is nothing he can do. Radar is almost ready again. But it's his last one, so you gotta make it count. So he's just going here through C. He can't turn around very well inside this channel anyway. And it would waste way too much time trying to reverse here. So he's going through here, hoping to find the Donskoy, most likely maybe flipping this camp. Thinking the Donskoy will buy... Oh, he's using his radar right now. Well, he found the Donskoy, so there is that. It looks like the Donskoy is actually coming back here. So it's likely that he used the radar to see if the Donskoy has torpedoes, as I mentioned earlier. The Donskoy could have been lying in wait here in order to ambush him, so it might have used radar as a precaution here. But that means he won't be able to radar the destroyers in the future. And it looks like both destroyers are actually charging through here to sink. Now it's 945 points for the enemy. And obviously with recaps ticking for them, they are going to accumulate points rather fast. But he might actually have a chance in this. If those destroyers really charge through here, he technically has a chance to sink them all, but he gotta start sinking. So, oh, there is the Donskoy. Not the wisest move on the Donskoy's part, but that's good for... the enemy was at 981, so he reduced that down. Okay. So he needs the destroyers. The destroyers were last seen in the channel, they are coming through here. That's... you don't want to have a close quarters choke pot fight with torpedo boats, but, you know, no choice. I think I would be slowing down here, just to slow down the turning cycle, maybe throw off a torp, but they're going to come in and torp. Maybe they're going to torp each other, but no, they can't. The Chengdu can't torp the Benham. And there are the torps. Come on, come on. Oh, don't take 3. Damn it, he took 3. But the Benham is almost dead. He's going to dodge this servo. There is a heal going. And now he just has to... well, there are more torpedoes. Can he sink the Chinook? Oh, no, he can't. Oh well, that's a defeat. And here we are with the results. Jensenovski on himself 1997 base experience, a rather impressive result and very well played by him, but unfortunately just not enough. Now he achieved a devastating strike, 2 close quarters expert, a Kraken, a first blood and a high caliber, scoring 178,000 points of damage, and that's a lot of damage considering that there were only 7 enemies to shoot at. But hey, he sunk 6 of them. They took 2 caps, earned 2.5 million credits, and well, it just wasn't enough, now was it? Oh boy. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.